Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. I'm sure somebody's singing Anka Bedenaya to the devil because you're part of the selection process today, the 24th of April, 2008, in the year of our Lord. Welcome. It's the Tuesday edition of New Day, and you know, as usual, we're three. So, the three musketeers. How was your night?
It was good. I had a good night. I mean, for the first time in a long time, I actually slept very well, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah, of course.
But because Bright was not worrying me.
Once you called my phone before going to bed, you certainly will sleep well.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
So she called you?
Yeah, she did.
I did?
Yeah,
I
it was around 9:35.
That must have been in his dreams because by that time I was so gone.
She called and
I
said,
slept right after Sadia,
Daddy,
so that was
okay,
nice.
right,
I
that's
wanted
nice.
the final blessing before I go to bed. Then
You
I
mean
said,
Grandpa?
Okay.
I actually called you
Okay.
Daddy.
And you gave
And I
them.
gave the
Okay.
blessing.
Well, that's
But
kind
you know,
of
I'm
you.
sure everybody is wondering how Johnny has descended to our level, but finally he's come
Well,
to
I
join
mean,
us on the ground.
sometimes you just have to sit.
Yeah, you just have to change the style.
Yeah, it's okay. So let's see. I mean, we're full of surprises here on New Day. So
But you see, interesting. On TV too, sometimes when you have a boil and you can't stand, you can sit.
What are you trying to insinuate?
No, I haven't
Well, a
said
disclaimer, that certainly doesn't apply to Johnny. But of course, talking about boils, healthcare plans to go high-tech. And that for me was very interesting, where we have drones dropping off essential items and medications to the various,
Look, this is a good initiative.
It is.
If it so happens.
Right.
But, you know, I have heard too many promises, and it puts me in a state of doubt. You know, I must be very frank. I've heard so many promises from the president, from the vice president. You remember we're told that there have been 750,000 jobs created in the agri sector.
Right.
I don't know where the jobs are. So I have my doubts about some of these things, even though I am very optimistic that we can achieve them.
Right.
Until we do, I don't know.
still
Look,
just
the
speech.
national ID system was supposed to have taken full effect in September last year, and as we speak, we're being told that
one
we're ready
district,
to
one
roll
factory,
one district, one
and
factory,
now we
one
have
village,
one
one dam.
district, one ambulance.
So then you want to ask yourself,
Actually, one constituency, one ambulance.
yes, all these promises that have come, when are we seeing them really? I mean, it doesn't hurt to have plans and to trumpet the plans, but to the extent that the people are not benefiting from those plans, it becomes problematic.
What is this policy supposed to cure?
The health care
yes.
going high.
Well,
The
speed,
hard to reach
Because we know,
areas.
the road issues
The road
that
issues
are
are
there.
bad.
At least if you have a drone, you don't need a road, and so it cuts
And I'm looking
away
at,
some of
you
factors.
see, a drone will have a certain battery life or power.
Right.
Okay, so in a situation where we have a lot of obstructions, it takes a lot to fly a drone.
Right.
You know, battery power, obstructions, and all of that. Maybe we need to have a conversation about. I don't know what work is
Because
going
in
into
as much
this.
as I'm happy about this, I'm looking at how much are we going to have to commit to
Yeah.
doing this against maybe fixing the roads in these particular districts. Because when you take the drone to, you know, supply essential medicine, you've catered for one part of it.
Yeah.
But the access to the healthcare, because it's not just dropping off the medication, people have to access it.
Yeah.
If the roads that they're using to access these hospitals are still not functional, then you haven't really done much for them.
Beyond that,
So-
there's even economic activities that come to play. So if you
Exactly.
fix the road, for example, people can go there. There's a tourism side. People can go there to go and experience that.
Right.
People can access healthcare. People can go to school. People can go to work. So many other activities. People will be happy to engage with the community. If you go and drop the medicines in the village by drone, as Amma said, well, healthcare may be hampered because the medicine is at the health center, but I need to go to the health center.
Exactly.
If I'm pregnant and the road is bumpy,
then you have a problem.
Yeah.
But
I hope it's a holistic approach because, I mean, in as much as it is good to have the drones do this job, if you take a critical look at the processes, we will be running into trouble the same because you see, the guys at the facility will need to place the orders.
Right.
You're not dropping medicines for the sake of medicines.
Dropping it, Right.
So
yeah.
you carry ARVs and go and drop them. No. The guys at the facility will
Somebody
need to
must
make
tell you what we need.
What we need, okay? And so, you see, it's a whole
Has to be
approach.
a
So
holistic
this is a good
approach.
start.
But
Let's see how
I like to
But Silas has
reiterate
joined us,
the
though.
question I'm gonna ask. That look, how much is that going to cost us? The provision of drones going to cost us, as opposed to fixing the roads, okay, which will have a wider perspective
Right.
and benefit for the people, economically, educationally, everything
Yeah,
else.
but just as Solis walked on, the lights decided to change color and give disco lights.
She was wearing, she's wearing black,
so
so then
decided to match up.
they just show her love. It's okay.
Okay.
How are you, sir?
Well, good morning to you.
Good morning.
How are you
She's
doing,
always-
sweetie pie?
Right.
I saw you in my dreams last night. You were preparing jollof for me.
She's finished washing your clothes and now they're
reacted for
preparing.
Because I picked my dreams, can you make it happen?
She'll see right after the news.
I'm speechless, which usually doesn't happen very often. But
Oh, God.
thank you very much, and once again, good morning. This is New Day on TV3. It's now time for us to take some spots of news from Ghana and around the world. Welcome back. It's morning news. My name is Solis Rose Gordy. Now the details. And samples of the substance suspected to have caused the death of 3 children at Abavana in Accra have been sent to the Food and Drugs Authority and the Environmental Protection Agency for further investigations. Meanwhile, the bereaved couple are to seek clinical psychologist treatment at a 37 military hospital.
It was a traumatizing sight at the residence of the parents of the deceased children at Abavana, Chashu Park at Kotobabu, a suburb of Accra. The mother has been relocated to a family house while their main residence remain locked. Family and friends trooped in to console the bereaved Muslim parents. There was uncertainty on who to speak to the media among the family members. Father of the deceased children, who will not speak on camera, revealed burial will be on Tuesday. Landlord of the couple, Matthias Ahaja, tried narrating the incident.
My doctor from Umuyaya, if you are ya, and a Bakui pen, I'm with Yankofa Duna.
We rushed them to the 37 military hospital. The doctors tried their best, but we lost them all. We were asked to bring along the insecticide, which we did.
The children, 9-month-old twin girls and their 2-year-old brother, died at the 37 military hospital on Friday night. They are reported to have inhaled organophosphate, a deadly substance in topstoxin. Authorities at the 37 military hospital say samples of the substance have been sent to the Food and Drugs Authority as well as the Environmental Protection Agency for further investigation. The couple are scheduled to see a clinical psychologist at the 37 military hospital on Wednesday.
Now, the Ministry of Health is considering taxable financing options to sustain the National Health Insurance Scheme. Interacting with the media, Health Minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu said discussions are also complete for the policy to be rolled out.
Management of the National Health Insurance Authority has complained about the possible collapse of the National Health Insurance Scheme. It undertook a nationwide education on the feasibility to impose a 1% levy, which some labor unions raised objections, including lack of stakeholder consultations. However, the sector minister Kweku Agyemang-Manu has given an assurance of meeting all stakeholders before the option is rolled out.
Do taxation to support our health system. We want free health for all, right? Clearly, health insurance is not sustainable now. You can all see it. The previous regime left a massive amount of debts overhang. Now we've managed to pay. We are also accumulating. The question is that what we have, is it getting adequate for us to achieve what we want to achieve? That is the major basic infrastructure, the health insurance, to enable us to achieve universal health coverage in good time.
In another development, government is to recruit 10,000 nurses under a nation builder's call to be launched next month. Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia is confident this will reduce the unemployment rate in the health sector and the country at large.
Quite a number of nurses and health assistants who are sitting at home. They've qualified for years and they have not been engaged. And we have now engaged the Ghana Health Service, and we will be prepared to recruit even up to 10,000 nurses and health assistants to the part of the nation builders for contracts of up to 3 years to provide health services to our people.
Minister of Health Kwekwajima Menu praised government for its keen interest in the health sector.
We have positioned ourselves with health insurance. We are doing the community health planning services, getting health services closer to our people, and do education and a lot of things.
The Nation Builders Corps is one of the major policies of government to recruit the teeming youth in revenue collection and other sectors of the economy.
Now, Vice President says the government will, by September this year, deploy drone technology to administer medicines to deprived communities in the country. Opening the 2018 Health Summit in Accra, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia said the technology will also be used to transfer blood to health centers where roads are unmotorable.
Experts from across Africa are attending the Health Summit to discuss universal health coverage through innovative approaches. Discussions again will focus on achieving the Sustainable Development Goal 3. In promoting healthcare, some African countries have deployed the use of technology. Countries such as Malawi and Rwanda are currently using drones to transfer drugs and blood to their hinterlands. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, said government will also deploy such technology by September.
We allow mothers to die because we cannot have blood supplies or essential medicines. So I'm glad to report that Ghana, I think this week, will be signing an MOU, and by the middle of this year, or maybe by September, we will join Malawi and Rwanda with using drone technology to deliver blood supplies and essential medicines.
Minister of Health Kwekwajima Menu explained the mapping of areas for the drone technology have been completed.
Using this digital mapping and the address system, and that is going to help a lot. So that is the infrastructure we have put in place to enable the drones drive. So if it's blood that we should take to Kitikrachi, for example, and the road is bad, we cannot go, the distance is long, and vehicles cannot reach there in good time to save lives, then we will position the drone, ask it to go where it should drop the thing, and somebody over there by telephone just go and stand there and pick it when the drone, pushes there.
The Vice President again spoke about procuring ambulances to improve on healthcare delivery.
We have begun the process of procuring ambulances for every constituency in this country, and we have 275 constituencies. So we will procure 275 ambulances, all of which will become a part of the national ambulance system to help in the delivery of health services.
World Health Organization's African representative, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti. World Health Organization's African representative, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, praised government for adopting the drone technology, but expressed concern that limited efforts have been used over the years to improve on healthcare in the country.
The report also showed that for the region, approximately 47%, that is nearly $800 billion of the indirect costs of illness could be saved every year if the SDG targets were achieved.
Recommendations from the 5-day health summit will be presented to the heads of various countries for implementation.
Now, away from that, members of parliament are being recalled from their recess to sit on Thursday, April 26 and Friday, April 27. In a statement signed by the Speaker of Parliament, this indicated that the recall is to enable members consider some urgent parliamentary business. But TV3 has guarded that the recall is to ratify the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Now, this letter was cited by TV3 from the Ministry of Trade and Industry to the Speaker of Parliament, which indicated that the President's decision for the House to reconvene is to consider and approve the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. The African Union heads of state and government on the establishment of the trade area, which was taken at the recent summit, has also been forwarded to Parliament. Now, a new bill is being worked on by Parliament to outlaw the activities and the use of land guards. But the former Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Collins Dauda, does not believe legislation and making land guards activities illegal will address the menace. Now, he spoke on the sidelines of a stakeholder forum in Accra.
Land is central in development, but there have been several challenges with regards to its ownership and redistribution. These include stools not having documents to cover their land and the use of land guards. The Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources has presented a bill to Parliament for passage with regards to land acquisition.
The system have been scattered in various areas, and there have been cases, or precedents from the courts, indicating what are. So this bill is just bringing together all those laws. It's a consolidated, bill.
Although there are several laws on land, they are not being enforced. Former Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Collins Dauda, is pessimistic about the new land bill.
If the old laws did not give us what we want, what is the guarantee that putting it together will give us what we want? So what we need to be thinking about is what we put in this new law that will, in practical terms, address the challenges confronting us.
He says legislation to outlaw the activities and use of land guards is not the best way.
If you listen to people who engage land guards, they engage land guards because they have difficulty finding justice when they go to the courts. You have a piece of land. You find somebody developing on it, and you run to the court that somebody is taking my property. It takes too long in the court, over 20 years in some cases, before the case is determined in court. And you find the illegal developer developing morning, afternoon, and in the night. So it appeal to the courts that when cases relating to land is placed before them, they should expedite action.
But the Sector Minister, John Peter Amewu, thinks the consolidation of the various laws on land will address the challenges. At a stakeholder forum in Accra, existing challenges on land were raised, and the Parliamentary Select Committee on Lands and Forestry is expected to consider them during their deliberations.
It's about 270 clauses, and every clause we need to take it and listen to these same stakeholders over there. When they give a suggestion, Attorney General should be there to also draft it. After we finish with all, then we have to come back and present the report to Parliament.
The land bill is the outcome of reforms which were introduced in the land sector as a result of the implementation of the 1999 National Land Policy.
And in other news, TV3's court correspondent Godfrey Tanham was on Monday, April 23, heckled and arrested at the Accra Circuit Court by a police officer while he was covering the story of the Kwabena cell break. The police officer wanted to prevent the journalists at the courtyard from taking footage of the personalities involved in the case. Godfrey Tanham spoke to us and explained exactly what happened.
What exactly happened?
Like we usually do when we go to court, and because we are TV, we need visuals to represent whatever we write. So we have to take visuals of whatever happened at the court premises, not inside the court, but outside. Outside, because that is the only place we can take video, and that is the public place where we can do that. So that was exactly what I was doing. I was taking the video. So the policeman approached me and then asked me, why am I taking the video? I told him that I'm a journalist and I was in court to cover the case, and so I just taken the pictures to write my story.
Did he ask you to produce your card?
When he told him, he asked me what shows that I'm a journalist. They asked for my card, and I said I didn't have my card with me. So that was where the whole thing started. So he wanted to take my phone. I said, no, you can't take my phone. That is my phone. Then he forcefully grabbed
you.
Then
moved me towards where the car was parked. So
how did he move? Was he pushing you or he carried you to the car?
He pushed me. He held me, and then so I was also
or
trying
he dragged
to free,
you.
I was also trying to free myself. Then he moved me towards the car. Then other police men came closer, and then one told me that I should keep quiet. If arrested me, so I should enter into the car. And I said, okay, let me have my phone and then call my office to inform them what has happened. Then no, he wasn't going to give me the phone. So he told me that if I don't keep quiet, whatever I say here will be used against me at the court of law.
And those things. So they took you to the police station.
Yes. So
what happened?
I was in the car. In fact, when I was in the car, one of the accused persons verbally abused me in the car. In fact, yes, he said, "You will see today." When you get there,
the policeman or one of the accused persons.
Oh, you also feel how it is in there when we are there, and then we come out. So and they were quiet. The policemen were quiet inside. So they took me to the Accra Regional Police Command, and then the investigator, who was also a witness to the case, the phone was handed over to him. So I followed him to his office, and that was where he told me that he's been called to release me. So he took my name and then took my number and then gave me my phone.
So that was our court correspondent there, Godfrey Tanham, narrating his ordeal on the 23rd of April. We're still at the courts, and an Accra Circuit Court has set May 15th for ruling on a submission of no case by the legal representation of persons standing trial for aiding some cell inmates to escape from custody at the Kwabenya police station. Now, this was after the prosecution presented its last witness, who told the court one Dixon used a phone to make a call at the police station and admitted he did not get access to the phone during investigations. A report by Godfrey Tanham.
The witness, Inspector Franco Usafrane, in his evidence in chief, told the court although the accused person used the phone to communicate, it was not submitted as evidence in court. He also told the court he did not bring a transcript of the conversation between the inmates and the persons who freed them. He denied the allegation leveled against the accused persons was a conjecture and that the persons standing trial were not engaged in the act. He also denied framing the accused persons and putting same in the caution statement. The defense counsel did not present any witness but told the court a submission of no case would be presented. Circuit Court Judge Abuaje Tando gave them up to May 9 to furnish the court with a submission and follow up with a ruling on May 15. 7 suspected criminals broke cell at the Kwabenya police station on January 21. The 7 suspects were assisted by a group to escape from police custody in an attack which led to the death of one police officer at the station. 2 others involved in the cell break, Prince Ose and Atakojo, are already serving their sentence in the prisons.
Right, now to some international news this morning. Canadian police are questioning the suspected driver of a rented van that plowed into pedestrians in northern Toronto on Monday, killing 10 and injuring 15. Alec Minasien, 25, was not previously known to authorities. And that's how we wrap up morning news here on TV3. And don't forget that you can always get more news updates on our website, 3news.com. You can always get interactive with us on our various social media platforms on Twitter, Facebook, as well as Instagram. We've been live on DSTV channel 279. My name is Solis Rose Corte. Good morning.
Welcome back. As usual, it's time for us to do newspaper headlines. Let's start off with The Finder. It says, healthcare goes high-tech. Drones to deliver essential medicine from September, says Dr. Baumia. Also, ECG concession. BXC sues MEDA over unfair disqualification. Also, Professor Adamiansa says, give school governing boards autonomy and flexibility. Then, Samira promotes reading culture among pupils. Then finally, Ekufuado and Baumia joined the Chief Imam in celebrating his 99th birthday. Those are the stories on The Finder, guys.
Yesterday was the Chief Imam's 99th birthday. I mean, a remarkable cleric, you know, of international repute who has served God with all his heart. And I personally admire him because his words inspire hope, peace and love, you know, and development. So on that score, I'd like to say a belated happy birthday to the National Chief Imam, His Eminence, Sheikh Dr. Osman Nur Shah Brutu. He's been a shining example, and we wish him a lot of health and and fitness as he moves on into the century.
But I'm also happy. I mean, when I hear about the healthcare goes high-tech, we've mentioned this. But again, I think the main issue stands. What are the real facts when it comes to health? What are the real challenges? It's got to do with road, it's got to do with the health personnel. Using drones to deliver essential medicine only caters for a part of our challenge, which is getting the essential medicine to these far-reached, areas. But again, if you do this, are we considering the amount of money that goes into catering for the drones? Because you have to train people, you have to acquire the drones, you have to go through procurement, every other issue. Let's say the batteries that the drones will even run on. All these things are costly. And so looking at it, if they put money to figures to the whole plan and they see that the monies that they're going to put into it could actually fix the roads, also employ more health personnel to be on the ground, then maybe we may have to put some hold on this drone issue up until we're able to solve it. Because when you give them the drones and you give them the medication, how does the patient get to the facility to even access the drugs? That is the real challenge that stands to, still be addressed. Then at the end of the day, if we look at fixing the roads, it solves other issues, like Johnny said, businesses. You would also obviously try and develop the area, which has been the issue in most of the northern regions where it's far to reach. So if you limit it to just drones delivering these essential drugs, then what happens? Doesn't mean you stop the infrastructure development. And oftentimes that's what happens, because we'll feel that one issue has been solved. Let's forget the roads, because now we're getting medication there anyway. And I mean, I don't think we're looking at the holistic approach. Overall, it may be good for some people who may need years until the development gets there. But for the others, it is not, a hard rule for everybody who has to go through this drone high-tech healthcare.
Let's hope that it's been thought through. If you take a look at the Finder story, we're told that already a company is being agreed on, and an MOU is expected
to make the supplies.
Yes, to supply the, I guess, the drones or the processes. So, well, let's hope it's been thought through. But I think that, like you said, the problems we have at these hard-to-reach places goes beyond just putting the medicines there for them to pick. And so, in some cases, the personnel are not there at all. And so I'm wondering who will go and pick the
medicines.
The medicine, because if you put in a certain type of medicine, and I don't know whether the people in the village will go and pick them, and I don't know what happened. So let's hope that it's been well thought through and that it's a policy that we'll see some results.
I want to talk about, maybe stretch the argument a bit and talk about helicopters, for example. You know, the Kumasi, the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital had a helipad. We were expecting Korle Bu to have, because at the time when Konfanochi got the helipad, we were told that Korle Bu will follow suit, and Ifeanyi Kwanta and the rest. How many years down the line, we don't have the helipads anyway. So now we're talking about drones. And maybe I would like to link it with, I think in 2014 or 15, the Ghana Fire Service, the National Fire Service, went to Parliament and told Parliament, the SIT Parliament, that they cannot fight fires beyond the SIT floor, and that they need helicopters to be able to do that, plus other things. A few weeks ago, we're talking about retooling the police, okay, giving them some amount of money in the wake of the Kwabenya crime incident, okay. Now, if you look at all these promises that have been made and how the promises have not been, delivered, I'm sure we're waiting for the next disaster to happen. Then we'll go back to the fire service, blame them, blame the water company for the hydrants not working and the rest. We always have a certain reactionary measure towards solving our issues. And lives are lost on a daily basis. Look, we're talking about an average drone that has battery power of 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, maybe we're going to do special specification that will give us maybe 30 or 45 minutes or 1 hour battery power. Now, this battery power is not complete because the wind, okay, if you're flying over maybe to Dabala and you're going over the Volta River, for example, the wind will have an impact on it, which will mean it will drain some of the battery power. So if your estimated flying time is 15 or 20 minutes, know that the wind is taking away maybe 5 or 10 of that. That leaves you with how much? How does the drone get to the place, drop the medicine, and how does it come back? If the drone loses its battery power, it may redirect its course, or it may just settle somewhere. Okay, so does that mean that it couldn't have delivered the medicine, and that the medicine will go waste anyway? I hope, and as Bright said, we have thought through all of these things. Because look, making a promise is far different from the achievement of the promise where the people can heave a sigh of relief and smile. Right. Our healthcare system is not the best. Our authorities know about it. And sometimes I think that some of these things, look, let's fix the basics. Exactly. You go to the hospital, you go to the basics, you go to the hospital, even surgical gloves to run ordinary lab tests. You don't have them. Okay, the ones that are procured are like baby gloves. I don't know who procures them, but they are like baby gloves. Okay. Maybe if I'm telling lies, I can confirm, but I've had reports where people procure gloves in large quantities, and they are like baby gloves. Syringes are not there to extract blood and test them, the test tubes. I mean, so the basics that we need. If you, for example, take medicine and go and drop it there, and I don't have the lab, the surgical gloves to be able to assess it, what have we done? Yeah. What have we done?
Okay. Even with blood supply,
let's see what happens.
There's a temperature you store these blood under, and as of now, most of these facilities don't even have the right storage facilities.
They're chips compounds.
Exactly.
Most of them.
So I mean, I don't think all in all we're saying it's bad. It's a good idea.
Nobody says it's bad.
These things come, it sounds like a reactionary thing. Whereas you haven't thought about what you can do in the now to make sure healthcare is accessible to everybody, and that's what we're looking forward to. Because up until then, when we're waiting for drones in September, can we do something to retool the health system as well? Make sure it's working for everybody. But anyway, let's move on and touch on Daily Heritage. It also says National Chief Imam celebrates 99th birthday. Then Supreme Court sits on $4 million NCA case today. And then the police is on rampage again. They arrest and manhandle TV3 journalists for taking video outside the courtroom. And this is not the first. We've heard of Latif Idris had a similar incident.
So many
others.
Is
this story worth talking about it?
Bright, it is, because I mean, it's oftentimes falling on deaf ears.
Because
where there's been no
it keeps happening, so I don't know.
It does. But that doesn't mean we should stop, because until we get response, it has to be spoken
in
about.
a country where the Constitution guarantees freedom of speech and expression, which would translate into the practice of journalism, everybody can become a journalist. Now, in a country where you don't need a license to practice journalism, like medicine, architecture, law, and other fields, in a country where we're told that the police is our friend, in a country where we're told that the media is the fourth estate of the realm, as Beck proposed, in a country where we consistently hear that the media has free leverage to run, and that, in fact, in 2001, the current president was Attorney General, and the repeal of the criminal libel law came to fruition following a campaign promise. It beats my imagination that you continue to have some of these things going on. It could be me, it could be any other journalist. And to think that, I mean, why would I go to a court, want to film when I don't have any business filming?
A suspect.
Why would I do that? Why would I go to a court? And in fact, if a police accost you or confront you and you tell him, look, I'm a journalist, I mean, there are so many ways of checking it than harassing the person. Exactly. This is absolutely unfair. You remember what happened to Mr. Kutin, the security analyst, how he was beaten, and until the matter went to PIPS, and it was found that the people misconducted themselves. I keep saying that, look, the fact that you have a uniform on, the fact that you have a coat of arms or the crown on, know that it doesn't place you above the law. It doesn't in any way place you above the law. And know that the people you want to manhandle, or the people you are manhandling, contributed to train you, to sew the uniform to you, to pay your bills, to feed you, to clothe you, to house you.
Sometimes, can we take on individual policemen and women and say that perhaps it's because of their unprofessionalism? This officer in question, was it one of his mandate to arrest anyone who attempts to photograph the suspect?
It wasn't. I doubt.
But
look,
even within the remits of the law, you are allowed to video outside
you have done
the
this
court.
work longer than I've done. I've done a bit of court reporting. What you cannot do is to film in the courtroom.
Right.
Outside the courtroom, which is a public space, you can film. It happens everywhere in this world. So I wonder why we tout our police as being one of the best in Africa. And we'll have, you see, and this may not be, while this may not be the entire police fault, because consistently we have had, a point to take photos or videos at the court. But I'm saying this particular one would mirror negatively on the entire police force.
Because
where the IGP has said that don't do it again, and you have somebody, I wonder what his rank was, is a constable, sergeant, or corporal, whatever, certainly an NCO, non-commissioned officer, who would do that. Now, I don't know.
And I have had an example where I went to the passport office to collect a passport, and then got to know that the office is being closed for 2 weeks. And so I was attempting to find out from the office guys that, hey, but how come the place is closed for 2 weeks and no one is being told? The public is not being told. And in my interaction with the passport office guys, I overheard the policemen who were sitting to my right whispering that, hey, who is he to be asking that the public had not been told? And eventually when I was asking questions, I could hear them suggesting that they should detain me. Let's detain him, let's detain him. And I was like, so I turned and said, detain me? Go ahead. I mean, I have not done anything. I'm only asking questions. So sometimes, like I said, the professionalism of the particular officer involved, like I was asking, was it given strict instructions by
to arrest anybody
to arrest anyone who attempts photographing the suspect? Okay. If he was not, what was his reason?
What was his motivation?
What was the motivation?
If you've been tasked to do such a duty,
nobody would
within the limits of the law, we know.
Nobody would task.
Let's even take it that on that particular day, they were tasked to. He was tasked not to allow anyone to video. This is you, but as far as we know, within the remits of the law, everyone is allowed to video. So on that particular day, when you saw me videoing, you issue a caution. My young man, you are not supposed to do this today. Because obviously, Godfred is a court reporter. He knows the rules. He wouldn't just breach it for the sake of breaching it. So if he's doing that and you insist and he breaches your instruction, then you have a right to say, okay, now I'm pushing you to go to the police because I feel
you have
are
some
breaching.
questions to answer.
But you can't just heckle me, push me. And the annoying thing about most police people who don't understand how the law works is you are allowed, or you're supposed to tell the person the reason for which you are bundling the person up and putting them in a vehicle and transporting them to the police station. Don't just say, keep quiet, anything you say or will be used against you in the court of law. What you've done really goes against the court of law. So until they understand their mandate and what they're supposed to do, I think we've lost it. Until then, where then is the freedom of speech?
The Miranda rule, or the principle that anything you say can or will be used against you in a court of law, you have a right to a lawyer and all of that. The Miranda rule is after you have been arrested. In this case, Chanam was not arrested. You get the point? So even the policeman who purports to be an officer of the law doesn't understand what he was doing at that particular point in time. It brings to mind what kind of training, and we're being told not so long ago how there's supposed to be a certain protocol list for military, for police, for immigration, for fire service. A certain politician or a big man somewhere decides that this person must become a police at all costs or become a soldier at all costs. The protocol list is hurting. I'm proud to say I grew up in a barracks. I didn't see these things growing up. And it was even around the time when you had the ice of the revolution and all of that yet to defrost from us as a people. Now, 25 years after that, we still have crude attitude like this happening. It's a shame.
Johnny, let's hope that when it happens,
that when they give you the police uniform and the rifle, it doesn't place you above the law. It only puts you in a privileged position to be of help and service to the people of Ghana.
And so
your motto said service and integrity.
So let's pray that when it happens, we find the individuals involved go to court so that these persons are taken on by the law. Other than that, I think it will continue.
I agree. I think that we don't need to stop at going to PIPS. As Mr. Kuting has said, he's gone to PIPS. PIPS says the people did what the officers did was wrong. You remember Kobe Mensah? Dr. Kobe Mensah was also slapped.
Let's move on to the next point.
I've told both of them to go to the court. If it means interdicting them or stripping them of the uniform, they must know that wearing a uniform doesn't place you above the law. Nobody, even the president, is not above the law.
Right, but we're ranting and we're talking about the 998 presidential staffers that has cropped up because, I mean, this president promised to keep the public purse safe. But it seems when you expand the people you employ, then you have to pay more people. But also other arguments have been that expenditure has been cut down to cater for this huge number of presidential staffers. But let's see what she had to say as we rant with George on the streets of Accra.
President Akufo-Addo has submitted a list of 998 staffers to Parliament for the year 2017. And now let me give you a breakdown of this figure. And 9 are ministers of state, 27 are presidential staffers, with 256 being, junior political appointees, with 706 being employees of state institutions. And in contrast to this, 678 was given for the year 2013 under the Mahama administration. And so what do you make of this number? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
I was saying to me a contest. We know a friend contest. I said, we bottle. I said, bottle Kurana, you say, Ubakurum, so, and it bojas of Honomono Hanu had the Bojas Caswa How. We hear contest. Yeah, here contest, Pa and Sunny at Timahusa number. You say, would be two figures, Mammy Bio 998. 998. I will move here. I'm some more. Somebody more. A job for the boys. Semikayo, I don't have a job for the boys. I don't mean Ghana form. And I bind that down now on Abano, on a crop for no more Ghana form. We're working for. So, what's that invisible forces in car? I don't know about the invisible forces. Hey, Wamuno, so my dean. Okay, I want to. Hey, 998. One more day. They are working. Then, you're more first, no more than Wamuda. Wamudi Kateko self from any pillow and Wamuda.
Me, I have a problem with the numbers because Ghanaian vote for this government to come and do the job. Whether it take a huge number to able to achieve his goals or his number, but the number is not people thinking that the number is only Akufo-Addo. The plaster is a big house, and there are a lot of workers that are not in the plaster house.
Yeah, the stadium is also a big house. Then take 1,500 people and send them there and let them go and work.
They don't know that.
If you are talking about the big house, are we not paying?
A lot of them are not in the plaza. When are they?
No, you don't know. You have to ask. We are paying for the. You see, we are paying for the goods. They are not there. Where are they? Where are they? Where are they?
They don't even know where the orchestra.
Okay, we might not know. Are you expecting us to know?
Yeah.
We know only the plaster house.
They don't know where the lists are gathering from. They thought all of them are in the plaza house.
No, they are all not in the plaza.
They let them know. They don't know.
Where are they?
They are ignorant. I'm a Canadian here. I say to Abba, no, yeah, you. No, I be on my opinion. The min 998. The min pay no go home. Can they move Blaya Bros? I said,
Musica Casio.
But then one more cigar.
Adam, look at this.
One more cigar.
General Secretary. Okay, with the Casa.
One more cigar.
Get your
I'm not now. I'm not here.
I know, sir.
Nietzsche, I'm a big word. Now, she said, the mini pay your also in a go parliament on this. I don't parliament.
Look at we are all from back. We are complaining, sir. Oh, our mining cost, but we need human resources to work with.
Yes, human resources. The media in this very country is very coward.
Tell me why we coward.
The past government, you people, the media, all over, airways, too much. The numbers are huge. Today, look at you.
Adamu, no. I don't remember us coming out saying we are bashing the government for that number.
I am telling you that
we are cowards.
This number is too great. I am going to organize demonstration.
Okay.
Yes, so that the big demonstration will hit here on the ground. If we don't take time, the next government will come, can take 3,000 people to their plaza.
If they can perform,
if they can perform. Performance is about the numbers. What are you talking about? Then you can feel the 19 players on the field to play football for you. What are you talking about? We are doing things on the rules and regulations. What are you talking about? This current parliament is sleeping. They're supposed to give the quarter number of, the workers,
so that is what it is. You can say the parliament can give no Adamu. You know, but I say if what about us okay to see a parliament is okay, we can work just one.
Because yes, so we are doing a premise. I'm doing so. We be sending me business. I'm only now go flat house on him. What I say, the presidency is now. Baby, I'm on Tiase. They need to learn. It's not the free education, Bano. Baby, I'm seriously. I don't say some cost. Because just say, I can't present now. No, do some good office now. Seriously.
Yes. The numbers are too huge. The numbers are too big.
Bahama's administration was 678.
Yes.
But that is not lesser. It's not also lesser.
Yes.
This is 998. But let me say, if let's say NDC General Secretary Barata, maybe Anka one more time, you could have justified 998. But I know more time, he's also talking otherwise. It's for me, I think the politics in Ghana is becoming so dirty.
That's what
we don't speak the truth.
Master, but we don't speak the truth. Vice President did campaign and he achieved. Based on that somebody is at the Flaster House. He's making, he's creating mess because the staffs at the Flaster House are too huge.
Okay.
They did campaign all over the 10 regions, and people understood them, and then they changed the government. So under 1 year, few months plus, when you come, you assume the assume the office. Yeah. Then 998. Ajay, I need counters to pile up these numbers.
That's why you need to go to school. You see?
Yes.
Even just 998.
I need counters.
You don't need a counters.
You still use counters in the school?
No, we are not using.
Do you know counters?
You see them.
Do you know counters?
I want to know.
To justify 992, we need counters. I can't think far.
We are to the first century. I'm going to use counters. So what I say, these people, they need to learn.
That is why I want Nana to serve the purpose so that I can learn.
But politics out of this.
Control him for me.
So yesterday when it was
control
998, what do you want it to be?
Yes. Figure saw that by out here 998. Yet now say. Yeah, now say hobby.
What qualification is it?
What qualification? Question. And say they do one more. I know about some qualification. I don't mean it.
Then you do Flaster House no that certificate when
Dominic who is the defense minister.
Yes.
And he says they inherited much of the numbers from the...
So that is why they changed the government. If Ghanaians think that the then government is not doing well, and they change the government. So when John Mahama is driving, he has the motor mask. I'm coming. When he's driving through the bush, when Akufo-Addo asks to come and sit behind the bus or the steer, he will also continue because he inherited John Mahama driving towards the ditch.
Okay, I understand.
Is that what you are telling me? No. When John Mahama is driving us towards the ditch and they ask you to come and take over. No.
At the moment, the one telling you.
No. I'm speaking to Dominic Nitu. Okay. He's not here. Okay. How can I ask him? You heard it. You caught him and I'm also passing through you.
Okay.
Do you see God? Okay. We worship through Jesus Christ or Prophet Muhammad.
So do you tell him?
If you can see Dominic Nitu,
so do you tell
him
that?
He's watching.
So do you tell me that?
Okay, let's hop up there.
All the people that you left behind, they are all just dead.
When you can't listen,
I'm coming. If you left the mess, we inheriting it, then you will blame us.
So will you continue the mess?
If you know that you left the competent people.
When you inherit the mess, you continue the mess.
So you left the mess, right?
No, I don't agree with
you.
It's a heated argument here. As you can see for yourself, let's know what you think about the numbers of the presidential list that has been sent to Parliament. Just log on to
Dominic Nitu need to be changed. He speaks to the new issues that he doesn't even know.
And on Twitter, it's a news TV3. Thanks for watching. Have a good morning.
All right. The Today newspaper says this morning, more rot and cavite at Metro Mass Transit Limited. And MMDC's election slated for 2021. And release Opuni's frozen account. Court has ordered Iyoko. Those are the stories on the Today newspaper. The BNFT says no Dutch disease Oforiata is talking there, even as oil crowds out agri sector. The Daily Guide stays on this staff at the presidency and says Mahama staff list hits 897. Opuni story is also captured. Opuni regains frozen accounts. Daily Graphic says that we will deal with piracy. President declares in second day. SNIT is reported to have made gains in 2017 and government earmarks 50 million cedis for burdened businesses. The Ghanaian Times stays on this issue of the drones. It says that drones to deliver blood supplies, medicines to remote areas from September. That's the vice president talking there. A photograph of a former vice chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ivan Adai Mensah, says let's dialogue on free senior high school. The Daily Statesman says, Jubilee House staff controversies, NPP reduces expenditure by 50%. Mustafa Ahmed is the information minister. His photograph is here. We'll talk about that. And then the Finder also doing that story, healthcare goes high-tech. Drones to deliver essential medicine from September, says the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia. Those are some of the newspapers I have with me this morning. My guest to do the talking, Deputy Communications Director of the NDC, Fred Agbonyo, is here. Fred, good morning.
Good morning, Bright.
Hope you're doing great.
Well, by the grace of God, you've abandoned me. You don't even check on me again.
We haven't abandoned you. We know you're fine. Once we're organizing your constituent, your branch elections, we thought you were busy.
Yeah,
we hope everything is fine.
The whole of last week, I was in from Central Region, Western, Ashanti, B, Upper East, Upper West, Northern Region. And so far, by the grace of God, everything is going on very well. You know, we clamors at all with the demonstration in Tamale against this U.S.-Ghana agreement, the military base they want to establish over here. And the people pour out in their numbers to protest against the agreement the government wanted to sign. And I think that it's a very triumph call that the people are making on the government, and the government will yield to the call to benefit this country and to benefit the government itself.
The minority hopes these protests will really achieve something?
Well, it's achieving something. I think that's all over the place. CNN is picking it up, BBC is picking it up, the international community is talking about it. America, they themselves are talking about it. And Ghanaians are getting aware of the agreement we are entering into and the effect it has on our country. And so for us, we'll continue to demonstrate, we'll continue to communicate to the people, we'll continue to reach out to the Ghanaian community as to why this particular agreement is not in the interest of this country, and for which we must instill that our government reverse it. If the government refuses to pay attention, very soon elections will come 2020, and I'm sure when NDC comes to the office, one of the first things we'll do is to quickly make sure we notify them so we can quickly terminate this particular agreement, because we believe it is not in the interest of this country.
Okay, grateful there, but let's first touch on the Daily Guide story. Ghana to use drone in medicine delivery. Also, government pays NHIS Ghana 1 billion Ghana cedis. That's the story. Now, Ghana will soon join the likes of Malawi and Rwanda in the provision of blood supply and essential medicines in remote areas using drone technology. Now, this follows government initiatives to ensure Ghana attains universal health coverage through strengthening health systems, increasing healthcare personnel, and using innovation to reach those remote areas. The Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, who announced this at the 2018 Health Summit in Accra, said government will see the innovative idea already being implemented in 2 African countries, replicated in Ghana. I'm glad to report that Ghana, I think, this week will be signing an MOU, and by the middle of this year, or maybe September, will join Malawi and Rwanda in using drone technology to deliver blood supply and essential medicines. So we are going to do this. That's the Vice President there talking on that story on the Daily Guide. Let me introduce my second guest, John Kumar. John, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Hope you're doing great. How did the elections go, the regional elections?
Oh, I think it went very well. At the end of the day, NPP is the winner. And I want to congratulate all the winners, as well as those who lost honorably. Of course, it only means it's not your time, so you have to keep serving in good faith, and at the right time, the party will reward you. I think if you look at the results, all those who won deservedly, and I think we should expect them to do better and make sure that the power that Ghanaians entrusted into the hands of the NPP is maintained going forward.
Grateful. Welcome once again. John Kumar is the Chief Executive of the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program.
Thank
Grateful.
you.
He's the Chief Executive of that program.
Change the name once again. You know, it's not a particular institution. We call it
I
yes.
see. Okay. It's
usual,
not the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program.
Change the name so they can take some credit.
I see.
You like changing
I'm
names.
sure John is not ready to react to what you said. He said he won't mind. Okay, let's start from here. Okay, let's begin the conversation from here. The Vice President has been talking about moving our healthcare system a step, a notch higher. How to reach areas are at the receiving end. Medicines don't get there, supplies aren't there, and the pregnant women, young ones, go through ordeals in order to get these medicines. Now we are to use technology. John, let me start the conversation. This is commendable. I'm not too sure if you have the finer details, but certainly this is a system that will improve on what we've been doing in terms of protecting our people, providing quality healthcare to them.
Exactly. And I'm very happy at the attempt that government is making to incorporate technology to improve healthcare delivery in the country. Because we are aware how some rules are so bad, and it's even difficult to post doctors and nurses to certain areas of the country. And we are told that with the use of drones, we'll be able to send certain medical equipments and medicines to those facilities without necessarily having to use the roads. So, but it will require that we do digital mapping to make sure that all those places are well captured before the drones could do the delivery. And so gradually the country is moving towards digitization, which is very good in terms of results. It helps to improve efficiency and performance in all sectors. And we know sometimes certain people die not because of the sickness, but because they couldn't get immediate attention. And where they even got the attention, the necessary drugs and equipment that could sustain them were not available. So all these efforts to improve healthcare delivery, especially with technology mindset, I think that's the way to go, because all over the world, technology is now dictating the pace in everything that we do. Right from even taxi now turning Uber all over the world. You can sit in one country and control transport systems in another country. So I'm happy that as a country we are taking advantage of the opportunities that technology offers us. And I hope that we'll be able to train more people to understand the process, and even our doctors and nurses to accept the new ways of, improving our healthcare delivery. And that sometimes the society itself also become resistant to change. So we must also educate people to understand that the world is moving on, and we must all find a way to embrace the new developments, the new enhanced way of working, and so that we can have better results for our people.
But that doesn't mean, I guess, that government isn't paying attention to other challenges in the health sector. I mean, in terms of road infrastructure leading to health centers, and perhaps resourcing all these facilities and putting them in good shape.
Definitely. I mean, the good news today is that the debt in the NHIS, about 1 billion of them is reported to be paid at the moment. So that should tell you that government is focused on improving healthcare delivery, and of course improving on access to roads as well. But you cannot do all at the same time, so you have to look at other immediate short-term measures you can take. And I think that this new technology-based delivery will help to immediately, give relief to some of these health centers that we have in the country. But government is well focused on improving on facilities and infrastructure in the health sector.
I'm grateful. Fred, do you see this? John says that it tells you how government remains focused on improving health delivery in the country. Now, the use of drones, for instance, is expected to improve what we do. Is that what you see?
Well, Brad, let me say good morning to your Sheriff viewers, yourself and my good friend I've known
for a while.
Yeah, for a very long while now. I think that healthy people is a healthy society. Every effort to modernize and bring technology to bear on our healthcare system is something all of us must embrace and make sure that we do it to the very best of our ability. And so if the drone system that is used in other jurisdictions is something that we can introduce in this country so we can extend healthcare to deprived communities, I think it will not be a bad thing. Government can consider doing a thing like that. But I think that if you look at this country and the way the country is structured, where the district capitals are vis-a-vis the closeness to the communities, what we should be focusing attention on really is road infrastructure. If we can fix our roads, it should be possible for vehicles to move to whatever community it is, within the shortest possible time and attend to the health needs of the people without necessarily relying on some of this technology, because they have their own challenges as well. Some of these drones, they also use batteries. Now, if you check the average lifespan of a battery, in some cases about 25 minutes. So let's assume that this one that they're going to use, they're even going to customize, the battery that they're going to use that can last for maybe an hour. Assuming where it is flying to is over an hour. What happens, if the battery should run down? Is it going to fall down? Is it going to remain suspended in the air? Can we always rely on it? I'm sure the technical people will pay attention to all these details before they implement it. Now, Bright, there was an effort several years ago to really get healthcare to the people with the introduction of what became known as the chip compound system, where every single community was supposed to have a health post with somebody there to attend to at least grant first aid to the persons who live in those communities. If you remember that President John Dramani Mahama, even an effort was made for all appointees to sacrifice 10% of their salaries towards the construction of some of these chip compounds. The evidence is there today that if you go to some of the communities, some of the projects were completed, others are still under construction. I can only appeal to this government that they should see to that those projects that are still under construction, they quickly try and finish them up. And those that have been completed and are still sitting there, nobody's attending to it, they can't even populate it, we should look at that. I recall about 2 weeks ago, I think the health minister granted an interview, or is there a program that he organized and said that Legon Hospital is still standing there, or Tremodel Hospital is still sitting there. They've not been able to populate the hospital till now. The machines, the equipment is there, the hospital is not working. And according to him, it is because they don't have a standby generator. And that is why that facility is still standing there and nothing's happening to it. One of your sisters, I think Joy FM also, took their reporters over there. The evidence available to everybody today is that there are 2 huge standby generators at that particular facility. All the machines that you need for the phase 1 of the hospital are in place. But we don't just understand why up to now government cannot put that facility to use so that Ghanaians and people within West Africa can benefit from it. The evidence is clear. The investment that was done by the previous government in the health sector, the number of hospitals that we built. If you go to Konfo Hospital today, the eye clinic, arguably one of the best in the whole of West Africa, it is sitting right there. The expansion where they're retooling, the modern machines and equipment that were introduced to that hospital, the military hospital that we are building in the Ashanti region, work is still going on. Since they came, they've abandoned it, it's sitting over there. If you go to WA, we are trying to build Upper West Regional Hospital. We didn't complete before we left office. That project is still stuck over there. Government should inject the needed resources into it and make sure that they're able to complete that. I was just coming from Tamale on Sunday. We had finished the first phase of the Tamale Teaching Hospital, 400 beds. We are supposed to have a second phase of another 400 beds. As I speak to you, nothing's happened to that hospital. That hospital is still sitting over there. The Rich Hospital that we commissioned, everybody can attest to it, very modern hospital, all the equipment that you need to provide healthcare, they are in there. The number of district hospitals, regional hospitals, Upper East regional hospitals is underway. Polyclinics, about 10 of them that we started, some we have completed. The point I'm making is that, yes, it is not enough for the vice president to continue on the promising spree. We are going to do this by September, by next week. We want to see concrete action. Areas where investment have already gone into it, monies have been invested. Let us see how we are able to complete those so that the people can benefit from them. It is sad today for you to go back to Kolebu or go to 37 and still they are still 10 patients away because they don't have enough bed to admit the patient. Meanwhile, a complete hospital is sitting right here at Legon. And either to they say, oh, the ownership of the hospital is either the university manages it or the Ministry of Health. We are feeling that debate. Now the minister is telling us another thing. Meanwhile, that thing that is claiming to is in place. So I don't know exactly what the problem is, why we cannot open that particular hospital to use. If you go to the police hospital, we did huge expansion work so that we can create more beds for Ghanaians to be able to access that other facility too. So the point I'm making, that we have invested so much in the health sector. Let's see how this government is able to maintain what they've come to meet. Remember, we even introduced something we call the Nuado Hospital. It's a moving ambulance. All the medical equipments and medical staff, they are in there, and they are supposed to be moved from the rural communities. So they look at the eye issues, the teeth, and all other basic problems. I don't know what has happened to that particular project.
The vehicles were acquired?
We acquired the vehicles, duly commissioned by President Mahama, and they were supposed to be moving to our various communities. I don't know if they are working as of now. You remember the number of ambulances that we brought into this country for emergency needs like he's talking about now. If some of the ambulances have gone, they are not working again, it is only fair and proper that we add on to the fleet or we repair those that are broken down so that people can really benefit from this. I think that where we are now, Bright, really, the everyday promise is becoming unacceptable. We want to see real action. We want to see how you perfect this so that Ghanaians can benefit from them. For me, that is what is key.
John, the issue isn't that the government has abandoned this project. Is that the case?
Never and not at all. First of all, I want to assure every Ghanaian that whatever good projects that the NDC started, we are enjoined by the Constitution of Ghana to carry on. After all, it was not their personal monies. It is you and I, our taxes. It is our monies that were used to raise these facilities. And whether they completed them or were in the process of completing them, it is our responsibility as a new government to carry on with all the good initiatives they started and complete them and put them to good use for Ghanaians. So I don't really know what are the challenges for especially the Legon facilities. But I can assure everybody that those are.
No, as for Legon, we are told that we need a substation. I think finally that's what we need.
But the substations are there.
A full substation, not the gen set.
The huge two plants that are sitting there can power them. I don't know. We can go there and I. We can just
Fred,
go there.
what do we gain if the facility sits there in waste? I don't know what that benefits us in any way. So relax.
But the earlier agreement, John, was that who will manage the facility?
No, I mean, this has been resolved.
Then we moved away from who will manage the facility now to the claim that we don't have generators. Now we've gone there to that there are generators. Now you're talking about substation. What type of substation? Do you have any substation at Kolebu? Do you have any substation at 37?
We're told that when the Tamale Teaching Hospital was upgraded, because of the equipment there, it was given a full substation, and that because of certain equipment that will be used here, what we need to do is to put
a full substation $200 million in putting up a facility. How much will it cost us to put up?
You let John.
I don't know why he's in a rush to see the facility. Don't be worried. We are dying not because of only this facility. We need more of this, not even this facility alone. And I mean, it is just that they are in a rush to take political points that they started it. I'm sure maybe that's the... Yes, but otherwise, why are you in a hurry? You didn't put it to use. A new government has come. They have seen one or two things that they have to do before they put it to use. You are complaining. What should be done? You think it must be incompetently managed as you did previously when you were in government. Things must be done properly. We must not be in a rush to do things that eventually will come back to regret. I think that there's a new management in place. They think they have to do one or two adapts before we can properly put to use the facility. I don't see why we cannot be patient with them to ensure that these things are done. And I think the last time they even took another budget proposal to Parliament or so for additional funds to complete the substation so that it can be properly...
That's for the second phase.
For the second phase. Yes. So clearly, whatever it is, I don't see how it benefits you and I if we have such a good facility sitting there idle. There's a good reason why it has not been put to use. But I want to assure everybody that when all those hurdles are crossed, eventually that is going to be put to good use. But we must not rush to waste the facility because we have to be seen to be using it. when all the infrastructure is not in place. So let's do the correct thing and make sure that, look, everything the NDC started with Ghana's money is for Ghana. And
so government is not uncomfortable putting to use?
Government will be very comfortable to put to use. It's not for the NDC. And whatever we are initiating will not be for NPP. And when we are not in government, we expect the NDC to carry on with our good initiative. Unlike them when they came and left all the affordable housings to lie waste, and it's now that we are putting them to proper completion and use. We will not waste Ghanaian resources. We want to make sure that every good thing the NDC started will be completed. After all, it's not for the NDC, it's for Ghana and it's for government. But where there are genuine problems, let's allow management to deal with the genuine concerns that they have raised. You may disagree, but they see that as an impediment to the immediate use of the place. But I can confirm that we are going to put that to good use, and for every Ghanaian who wants to use it to benefit. But you can't just allow it to be run down, or you rush to go in only to find out that when one, because of just maybe a substation that could have ensured constant supply of electricity and constant maintenance of certain equipment, we didn't have it, and so machines have started breaking down, or people have started dying during the processes of operations and stuff. Please, let's be patient. I know every good facility that was started on the NDC will be completed.
Right. I don't think that Ghanaians can be any patient with this particular issue. I'm surprised you're describing that as competently managed. A government that sought for resources built an ultramodern hospital, arguably the best in the whole of West Africa. The project was duly commissioned. As we rightly said, the project is in 2 phases. We had finished the phase 1 of the project that we can put to use. And for more than 1 year, the equipment are still over there. The hospital is there, Ghanaians are dying. And they are saying that we are in a hurry. We should not be worried about the lives of Ghanaians. Is that what you are telling me? If you get to the hospital that will speak to you, some of the equipments, they are there because they need their condition every day. The lights are on, the air conditioners are on and locked up. Some of these equipment that we bought also have a lifespan. Some of them we are giving a guarantee of 1 year or 2 years. And all this is more than almost 2 years now. The machines are sitting over there. Their lifespan is even deteriorating. I don't want us to talk about it. Ghanaians are dying, whereas all these facilities are there. And we say that we have been impatient. It has something to do with politics. Now, you made the point that they started affordable houses. No, he said they started affordable houses and we abandoned affordable houses. Is that where you want us to go this morning? Why? All the affordable houses that we started, go and check the way we did. The military are even occupying some of the projects today. We give some of the projects to SNIT to complete for people to manage. We didn't just abandon them. Saglemi housing project on the Shogun Kope Road, almost 5,000 facilities. It is sitting over there. We commissioned, we did everything. Look at even the one that we built for the Navy in Tema. It took the Navy to come out screaming and shouting before the Vice President moved in to go and commission it. So I don't know what the problem is. This thing has been built for Ghanaians to use. It's been completed. You cannot tell us that we spent over $200 million in putting out a facility, and even if a substation is not there, we cannot within 1 year put up a substation so Ghanaians can benefit from it. What is this argument that the president is making when it was outside? That they had paid some $1 million, and 1 million Ghana cedis of indebtedness of national health insurance, and so everybody should be singing and praising. In 2014, we paid 1.73 million Ghana cedis as indebtedness to national health insurance. Go and check all the figures. Check how much they were paying before we came into 2009. The structure of national health insurance it is today. Every government, when you leave office, there will be some debt that you leave behind eventually for the next government to come and continue. So this thing, even after that the announcement was made, we all heard the service providers. They've come out to say that they've not received any money. So who are they deceiving?
Well, the officials say that perhaps the money has not reached them and that all processes are...
So if you have released money, the money has not reached the person who needs to use the money, why do you come asking that you have paid?
I don't know if I can take just a little bit.
Okay, you see, just 1 minute and then we'll move.
This is what led them to their incompetent disgrace in the last election.
So you think your government is competent?
Well, relax. Of course, their Ghanaians are seeing the difference between competence and incompetence.
You don't move around that.
When
you're in your office. If you move around the country...
I thought you had a good time. Fred, you said all the good things you want to say. Relax. You see, when it comes to governance, there is a way you govern. And especially when you are governing with public resources, you must know that there's a day of accountability. You don't rush to commission projects when you have not finished. The fact that you have painted a building, the fact that you have put air conditioning in a building, it doesn't mean that it is fit for public use. So the management that are in place are saying, from what we have done so far, we don't think we are ready to use the facility. Why are you forcing them to use the facility so that they destroy whatever you have started? There's the need to take your time. Let's respect the decisions of the man. We are paying them to do that work. If they think we are not ready, let's allow them. The important thing, and that's the assurance I'm giving, every good facility that we have put with Ghana's money will be put to use by Ghanaians. So I don't see why we should rush to do propaganda. I don't get it.
Okay. If indeed the issue is about a substation, would it take that long to put up a substation?
That's about the argument my brother is making serious.
Well, I am not a technical person.
We have spoken to technical people who have told us that everything there is set.
But Fred, why didn't you start? If the technical state, if a substation was so critical, why didn't you start the project with that?
What substation?
You were so eager to paint.
No,
and
we
so
put 2 huge plants.
Substation is not about generators.
When we finish, take your cameras to the place. They're going to see what is there.
I don't know what they are talking about. What is the substation? I was asking John a question, but John seems to suggest that he's not a technical person.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what is important is that there are technical people in charge of that facility. I believe eventually, whatever arrangements they are doing there is to inure to the benefit of this country.
I'm grateful. The statesman says NPP reduces expenditure. Now, talking about the Flagstaff House, Jubilee House staff issue, documents in possession of the Daily Statesman indicate that from the administration of President Kufuor through Prof. Evans Mills to John Mahama and Nanado, figures on establishment at the Jubilee House has been ranged, that's the staff, from 693 for Mr. Kufuor, 712 for Atamil, 678 for John Mahama, depending on the exigencies of government programs and its vision in addressing certain peculiar tasks. Indeed, it has further been established that the Akufo-Addo-led government inherited some 678 employees at the Jubilee House on assumption of office in January, forming part of the figure 998. Now, interestingly, in the raging controversy over the 998 staffing figure, which is slightly above John Mahama's figure, cost to the nation and impact are poles apart in favor of the current Akufo-Addo administration in terms of projects and programs, efficiency and cost cutting. The story is suggesting that even though President Nanado's figure is 998, all the others have spent more than he has. The information minister has explained that the engagement of over 900 staffers was necessitated by the establishment of several development authorities and the creation of additional government agencies. That's the story. And they talk about some 3 billion cedis spent in 2017 and then some 1.5 billion, which ballooned to 3 billion in 2017. Yes, in 2017. And according to the story, that figure is way above what President Nanado spent in 2017. That's the story. So the numbers are huge, but we're told that the cost of looking after these officers to allow them to work is not that huge. John, this issue, what is really the focus? The number or how much we're spending on them? Is really the president interested in protecting the public purse?
Exactly. I mean, when the argument started, I was a bit at a loss at what people were really aiming at. You see, it's not an argument about numbers, and let's not get it wrong. It's an argument about competence and incompetence. It's an argument about delivery of the expectations of the Ghanaian. Now, the NDC are claiming they did 800 staffers. What was the results? They took away teacher training allowances. They took away nursing training allowances. They brought us doomsaw to the worst level we could imagine in this country. They worsened our economic plight and took us to IMF and grew the economy incompetently to the worst level in decades, 3.5%. That is the delivery of the numbers they brought to us. If it was 800, it was an incompetent 800. Now we are talking about 900 or even 1,000. That is competence. Nursing training allowance have been restored with 1,000. Teacher training allowance have been restored with 1,000. Free SHS have been introduced with 1,000. Now, one district, one factory is ongoing. We are talking about $1 million per every constituency. The development authorities have been established. What are we talking about? Ghanaians want delivery. They want to see competence. They want to see that with your 1,000 staffers, you have reduced the cost from 3 billion to 1.5. That is what Nana-Addo government has done. This is what Ghanaians are expecting. It is not about numbers. In any case, Ghanaians are looking for jobs. So even if we could use 3,000 people and achieve the results of proper governance, of development, of delivery, of efficiency, and respect for the use of public office, and proper accountability, and not double salary taking. These people are not, if you use 800, and 46 of your ministers are taking double salary, which they call top-up.
The allegations.
Well, as alleged, let me just put it as alleged.
Just a reminder.
Yes. No, but on the issue of top-up, it's not allegation. They themselves just, instead of calling it double, they admit they received it, but it was a top-up. So, no, that is not an allegation. They have responded and called it a top-up.
It is the right thing to do.
Well, no problem. No problem. No problem. So you see their incompetence. This is what we call the incompetence. So the 10% they were paying for the chips compound, was it on their top-up or was on the was on the basic? So clearly, this is what the argument should be about. And like Professor Ade and Co have said, it's not an argument about numbers. What is in numbers? We are talking about use of public resources and governance and delivery. We have a commitment to deliver on our campaign promises to Ghanaians. Create jobs. The youth are looking for jobs.
But John, if you want to take a look at what Professor Ade said, in terms of efficiency, is efficiency not using very little to produce more?
That's your definition. And what is little? If you have a population of 29 million and you are using 1,000, is it little or many? You see, it is little in respect of the outcome. And we are telling you that somebody used 800, spent 3 billion. I am using 1,000, I'm spending 1.5.
We are yet to know how much the MPP spent from the Jubilee House in 2017.
Well, the budget, 2018 budget has been presented. What figure was stated? The figure is clearly there. And we didn't go for any supplementary budget. The actuals will come and it will, yes, of course. We didn't exceed the deficit that we stated, 6.5, has not. We reduced it actually from 9.3 of the NDC. And now we are even targeting to do 4.5 in this year. So clearly, it is not about numbers. It's about competent delivery of the pledges you have made to the people. It is about competent use of the resources of the nation to give free education to the people. If 800 people couldn't give us free education and took our allowances, and 1,000 people can restore our allowances and give us free education. If 1,000 people, what is the cost? They have reduced the cost of the 800 by half. That is 50% savings to the state.
That's according to the information minister.
Yes. So, but you have not counted that with any other contrary information.
I don't have the figures.
So we are telling you that this argument is not about numbers. It's about competently. Do you know that Ghana's economy, just before you move on,
because of the...
No, we were talking about their incompetence.
Okay, not the numbers.
Not the numbers.
So
what is in numbers? If you have 500, yes, if you have 800 and you are taking allowances, that is too much. That is incompetence. But if you can give me 1,000 workers and make sure that you restore teacher training allowances, nursing training allowances, you are paying 1 billion debt of NHIS, you are growing the economy from 3.5, abysmal 3.5, to 9.3 in 1 year. That is display of competence.
So the economy is growing.
I mean, that's the evidence.
And you can see apart from the figures, you can see a growing economy.
Exactly. Everybody is attesting to that. I mean, the World Bank, the IMF, everybody in the world, including this country. Now, consistently in the past 1 year, Bank of Ghana has been reducing the monetary rates. Am I lying? Consistently declining.
But the interests are so where they are.
Yes, because the banks are not responding, but gradually they are responding. Gradually they are responding. And inflation is coming down. Interest rate is stabilized. And people can confidently see. Now what we need to do is to translate all these positive economic indicators to job creation so that the young people can then find the jobs, because that is the critical thing. And that is exactly what we are doing. The Vice President has announced that from next month, under the Nation Builders Call, we are recruiting over 100,000 young graduates into the system. That is competence.
That's a stopgap measure for job creation.
There's nothing wrong having short gap measures in development processes whilst you take your time to grow, because under the NEIP program, we have long-term measures to make sure we create jobs in the private sector. And that is where I am handling. So if in the long term you are creating jobs and in the short term you are creating jobs, there's nothing wrong. It shows you that you know exactly what you are doing, you are clear in your vision. It's not about numbers, it's about delivery. What are the expectations of the Ghanaians? Doomso has stopped. We are all evidence to the fact that Doomso is no more in this country. If 800 people brought us Doomso for almost 8 years, and 1,000 people can stop Doomso in 1 year, hooray! So it's not an argument of numbers. It's argument about competence over incompetence. The NDC, led by President Mahama, was grossly incompetent. I mean, it reflected in the last elections that we all went for. Ghanaians were vehement in their declaration of incompetence. Now, in just 1 year in office, everything is pointing to the fact that, indeed, the economy is back on track, confidence is back in the system, students are now learning free of charge. I mean, free SHS have been introduced. Allowances of students, whether teacher training or nursing training, have all been, even those they left home, the nursing trainees they left home from 2012, 2013, 2014, have all now been posted.
All of them?
Majority of them have been posted.
Sure the nurses will not be happy.
Well, but we also, no, it is just a category.
So not all of them.
Not all. But you see, if you left a backup from 2012, yes, and within 1 year,
but not all of them.
Well, even if it's not, let's say, not why they should be happy.
Some of them.
The nurses are very happy that we have restored their allowances.
Yes, exactly.
They are very happy that from 2012 we have posted much of the backlog.
Right.
They know that we are responding to their needs. Teachers know that the allowances have been restored, so they are happy. So and now students also have hope that after school, whether long-term gap or short-term gap measures, there are measures in place to integrate them into the job and employment sectors. This is what we need. This is where the argument must be, not about numbers. If you have 800 incompetent numbers and somebody can provide 2,000 competent numbers, hooray!
Right. John, I'm grateful. So, Fred, that's the argument. It's not a matter of the numbers, it's just about delivery, deliverable.
I am sure my brother John has been living in Afghanistan for the past 1 year.
Oh, he's the CEO of
the
NEP.
description is given is not anything related to Ghana. I'm sure my brother now is confined to his office. He doesn't know. In fact, he's not in touch with the reality.
Okay, so he's no more in Afghanistan.
He doesn't know what is happening in this country.
Yeah, maybe,
you know, he doesn't know. He doesn't move around. Maybe he's in Afghanistan somewhere. He doesn't know what is happening in this country. And so you can come and sit on national television this morning and speak this way. Speak down on the people of this country and think that the people of this country.
No, Fred, he's not speaking. He's only telling us what.
Up until you corrected him, he sat here and said they've posted all the nurses.
I said that we have posted
from
2012.
He sat here. Can you allow me, Bright? He sat here and said they have fixed Doomso, and I thought we were going to ask him to point to 1 megawatt of electricity they added to our electricity stock.
But you know but you know the argument was the argument
it was always about money,
an issue of finance
and incompetent management.
So which monies have they paid? Point to it. Which money?
We've paid all the necessary
debts. In
debts.
2015, President Mahama said in the State of the Nation address that by 2017, Ghana will become a net exporter of electricity, based on the measures he has put in place. When he was building the car power, he was doing the solar system, and all they criminalized and called him names. They should point to one thing that they did. Before they came into office in 2017, there was no Doomso in this country, and that is evident, that's the truth. Point to one thing that you've done in the energy sector that you can come and see on national television this morning and boast of. You call NDC incompetent? A 419 government that will tell Ghanaians I'm reducing electricity by 30%. Whilst in reality they are not doing that?
No, please. Fred, you have evidence to prove that the 30% isn't really
right. You pay electricity. Are you suggesting to me?
Well,
did you?
No,
you
30 is for the industries. I think so. Non-residential.
So fine, but your company is an industry. Call your management staff and ask them.
But
if
you have the
evidence. It was not reduced even up to 15%. It was not even up to 50%. Find out. But they will come out there and do propaganda. That today you are telling us is no longer about the numbers. So when Anado stood at Osu Presby, Bethesda Presby Church, and said that the size of government under Professor Mills was too large, and that we should do something about it, what was he saying at the time?
And John said that it was a matter of deliverables.
Exactly. But with the incompetence, we set up an institution that even he, John, today is working in.
Oh, did you set up NEP?
Now, please.
Do you know anything about NEP?
We set up, yes. That is why you're working with our incompetence, so-called incompetence.
But you met NHIS youth employment.
Institution that you have created. Point to one institution that you have created since you came into office.
Plenty.
The employment you create, you are giving out to the people today. You sack one NDC person, you bring MPP. Even the young people they are bringing, the big men's family members and children and friends. The real food to who work for the party to gain power. They're in the house. They can't even get food to eat. You are shedding everything among yourselves at the top. And you come and sit here and tell us you are competent. Point to one thing that you have done since you came into office for more than 1 year. Tell us one thing.
You said that they are delivering. He mentioned the one district, one factory.
He claimed that one district, one, where is the factory? One district, where is the factory? Point to one factory. The last time I checked, Otuam, the place has turned into a forest. Where else? He said if reinstated teacher training college and allowances, find out what is happening in our schools. For more than 4 months, they've not paid any money to them. Just 3 days ago, I received a text mail from one of my friends in the training colleges that the parents are not even sending him money again because they thought that they are paying them allowances. And so if I could get something for him to manage. Announcing policy means that we are implementing the policy. Just this morning as I was working here, I heard the NAGRAT, I think the financial controller NAGRAT office, claiming that the money is not even, a government is not even subvention for the management of free SHS. In any case, was that a promise you made to the people of this country? Last year, how much money did you release to for the management of the free SHS? And so if you are just announcing policies, you are not putting anything in place, and you want us to glorify you and think that you are doing something, you are deceiving yourself.
But Fred,
Ghanaians today, if you go on the streets, they are so much disappointed. Ghanaians would have wished that tomorrow, 2020.
The development authorities, aren't they taking shape?
Taking shape, where are the offices?
Chief executives, deputies have been mentioned.
One authority, one chief executive, about 4 deputies. We don't even know where they are. Go and check their budget. What are they doing? What have they done? Bright, point to one thing. Just one, I'm not asking for 2. That this MPP administration have been able to put in place since they came into office, apart from announcing policies.
The Free Senior High School.
So what is happening to it?
What
is happening to it? What is happening to the Free Senior High School? Go and ask several parents. They've posted their children out of their communities. They have to go and rent a room for them. They are paying water bill. They are paying electricity bill. In some cases, they have to even get them their lorry fares. They are paying more than they would have paid under what we did. And so I don't know which country you live in. I don't know what it is that you think your government is achieving. John, if you live here, go onto the street, go to Abosokai. Talk to the spare parts dealers over there. Today when you get to the port, they can't even clear their goods. Talk to Ghanaians who live abroad. When they bring their vehicle, they can't clear their vehicle from the port. Go to Malata market. Go to Agbogbloshi market. Go and talk to the market women. Filth is swallowing them up. People are not even coming to the market to come and buy. That is the country we are living in. You can't even manage filth. You can't do anything. You are only talking and talking and talking and making promises. There is nothing on the ground for us to see. And so you can continue to live in your office and continue to convince yourself that your government is doing so well. You claim you are competent, and so you can appoint whatever. Armed robbers will give you a reason why they are into armed robbery. Prostitutes can give you all the goods why they are into prostitution. For the first time in the history of this country and anywhere in the world, your government that claim or your president that claim that is coming to manage our purse, manage our resources, has appointed 110 ministers. Each one of them for V8, each one of them for a private saloon car, a houseboy, a house girl, allowance, free fuel, free telephone call, everything.
Again, it's about
some
delivery.
Of them. What are they delivering? What are they delivering, Bright? Point what they are delivering. point to what they are delivering. Go to Ministry of Education. We have 2 sector ministers and a deputy. And we don't know who is doing what. Go to the area of the security, Minister of National Security, Security Coordinator, this, that. Meanwhile, every day I'm robbing our country. Every blessed day I'm robbing. Even in visible force, you can't manage it. And you tell me you are delivering? You are now this year become the measuring rod. Anytime we talk about your super incompetence, so even NDC did this. Ghanaian didn't vote for you to come and continue for the sake of the argument, anything the NDC did. You promise you are coming to give us something better.
Let's wrap up on this.
And we are getting the worst form of governance this country has ever witnessed in our 31 years.
Fred, the Deputy Communications Director of the NDC. Now let's jump into this one. The election of Metro, Municipal and District Chief Executives is scheduled to take place in mid-2021 to deepen the country's decentralization process. The Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Hajia Ali Mahama, who disclosed this, said President Akufo-Addo is committed to fulfilling his promise of making the election of the MMDCs partisan. The minister was speaking at the roundtable discussion, which was organized by the Center for Local Governance and Advocacy and Interministerial Coordinating Committee on how to operate a decentralized governance system with the election of MMDCs. That's a big one there. John, is the president really committed to this?
Oh yes, that I'm very, very sure.
It seems to be moving the years on and on and on. Now it's out of his first 4-year mandate.
Yes, it is very important to do a lot of stakeholder engagement when it comes to the issue of district assembly elections, and even how the processes have to be, managed. The nature of the elections, how is it going to be? I'm very happy His Excellency the President invited leaders of other political parties to the Jubilee House for further consultations. And obviously we couldn't have rushed with the process because it appears, whilst it's a very laudable idea, the significant roles that the district assemblies play makes it very crucial when you want to play it on elections level. So it is very, all the DCs and MMDCs are head of DISEC and MISEC and head of security in the regions and the districts. So you have to be very cautious in making sure that the people you put there will not, or the processes you are putting in place to select whoever must head it. You don't leave it to people who destabilize the security of the various districts and municipal. So I'm sure that we have to do a lot of more engagements with all stakeholders. And I'm sure, per the laws, the Local Government Act,
right.
The district assemblies are supposed to be non-partisan. So going forward, that we are seeking to making it elections, what nature must it take? Is this still going to be political parties getting involved or still non-partisan processes? So a lot of discussions have to go into it. And we need the input of all the stakeholders, especially the major players, the NDC and all the other PPP, the other political parties that we have. And of course, those who are the local government experts in the country will also have to advise. Some are for, some are against. You need to weigh the concerns from even those who think it's not a positive decision. How do you incorporate all those concerns into the final decisions that you come or you arrive at? So these are the major issues why government have to take their time. I'm very happy, at least as we speak today, the Ministry of Local Government have announced that beginning 2021, we are likely to see the first election of the MMDCs in this country. I think it's good. It's something that eventually as a country we have to get to, because come to think of it, all the funding for the district assemblies or for the development of the municipal and districts go to the MCE, but that person is not elected. And the MP who gets elected, who is supposed to be the lawmaker, has to be blamed for every development gap that happens in the district. But if you allow people to select their own MMDCs, then much more obligations will be placed on whoever is the MCE or DCE to respond immediately, timely, you know, positively to the concerns of the locals. I have dealt with some MDCs before who will say that their obligation is to the president and not to the people.
Not to the people.
Yes, because clearly, and it makes sense because it was the president who appointed them. Even though he appointed them to serve the people, their first obligation is to the president. But we want to have a reverse of the situation where whoever is there as MC or DC believes that he's there on behalf of the people. You respond to their development needs. Otherwise, the next election, you are voted out. So you cannot have the purse and somebody else is blamed for your lack of performance. So it makes a lot of sense in terms of development. Some roads are there, and then a DCE could just go and plow the road and make it motorable for the people. He sits there, he doesn't care. Meanwhile, he has the purse. And all the blame will be put on the MP. So if we want to see faster growth and development, if we want to see the essence of this district assembly common fund that's always going to the districts and not really seeing much accountability, I think that these elections will help. But like I've said, people have raised concerns. Let's look and hear what they have to say and how we can incorporate all these concerns to make sure that eventually the nature of elections that we adopt becomes acceptable to all the stakeholders so that we can live with that and move on and experiment that process and see how it helps the people.
Fred, right. The processes leading to the eventual election is what is delaying the process.
Well, Brad, just give me a second. John, you can remind the president, when I'm sure he's back in the country, that according to the spokesperson of private clinics, they said in 2016, we are still owing them 4 months. 2017, we are owing them 7 months. 2018, we are owing them 3 months. Then teaching hospitals, 2016, we are owing them 2 months. 2017, 9 months. 2018, 3 months. This is our arrears, the money that we have not paid to National Health Insurance Service providers. If the president goes to tell us that there is $1 million, the people are saying that they've not received the money.
Fred,
so you should get the money. Let me come back to
Fred, yesterday I heard the deputy chief executive of the scheme told the media that all these persons who have not been paid perhaps might be as a result of issues with their
I've told that this government,
if they have,
when this government tells you look up, look down.
You remember when we said we have paid the teachers' arrears and they declared strike?
When they tell you that look up, you just look down.
Fred,
okay.
You
see,
this issue,
Fred, no, I'm coming.
You remember the teachers?
Let me finish
after the ministry announced that we have paid them and we've released funds, they said we have declared strike. What happened to their strike? Eventually, what happened?
You know what happened?
So what happened? What happened? Now they've got the money.
No, it's not.
Okay, let's have they got the money. Why have they called off the strike?
I'll tell you why they called off the strike. But let me come back to this issue. You see, I have a difficulty accepting this that is being said by the sector minister, that they are going to implement this election of MNDCs in 2021. Because if you remember, President Nana Addo Akufo-Addo himself told us that in 2018, we are going to have these elections. The Deputy Minister of Local Government, Honorable Obi Amwa, he said 2019. Now, the sector minister is telling us 2021. So which of the dates should we believe?
Well, they have explained why the dates keep.
So at the time the president was giving that date, he didn't know, he was not briefed, or he just said it as one of those promises. At the time Honorable Obi Amwa was also giving his date, he didn't receive any briefing, he didn't know all the problems that they are raising today. I pray and hope that 2021 will come, and all of us will see the election of MNDCs. People have raised the pros and cons, why we should elect MNDCs, and others think that we should still continue with the appointment that we have as of now. I think that's only fair and proper that we weigh both sides of the argument and see which will be appropriate, which will benefit this country. I may have my personal view, and I think that I share in some of the concerns that John raised, that if you check our development agenda in this country, MPs really don't do development. I don't know why we have even created that thing we call MPs Common Fund, which can barely do any development. And so based on that, they go to communities, they ask them, come and fix our road for us, come and build a school for us, come and build a hospital for us. Apart from going to lobby, where are they supposed to have money to be able to do it? The common fund goes direct to that assembly. And you know the institutions that we have. If you go to an area where the MP and the DC or MC are not coming from the same political party, it becomes difficult for them to come together and work for the development of the area. In some cases, because the DC or the MC is even eyeing the parliamentary seat, he tries to, more or less sabotage the MP, even to release his own development fund for him to do whatever he wants to do becomes a problem. And so, if all of us think that in order that the MDCs, the DCs and the MSCs be accountable to the people, they also need to go through election process. And we think that will benefit us as the people. Why not? We can go ahead and do it. And I'm sure the technical committee that have been set up and the team are looking at all the issues. So at the end of the day, it doesn't create any problems for us. I think that one of the major concerns they've raised in the past has to do with the issue of security and ability to trust the DC. Because the DC, more or less, is the representative of the president in the district or in the municipal area. Now, assuming that they vote for the MC on the partisan lines, and the man who becomes the MC is not from the president's political divide, would they be able to cooperate and work? He is supposed to be in charge of the security at that level. So anytime the president is going to that district, he presides over the security. Can we be sure that you provide the security that will benefit the entire system? These are all the issues that have been raised. But like I said, the technical people should look at it. We should do broad consultation and see what's the interest in the interest of this country and get it implemented. My only difficulty is that I am not too sure if by 2021, as we are being told, they will do it again. But the good thing is that by 2021, NDC will be in power. And so once we promise we'll deliver on that, I'm sure we'll do it. What they're telling us technically is that MPP is not going to implement this election of MNDCs during their term of office. Nanado is not going to do it. That is what they are saying in a very subtle manner. But that's the information they are putting out. Because by 2021, Nanado would have ceased to be the president of Ghana. He wouldn't have been in office again. So how is he going to implement this particular policy? So you are reneged. You are failed. You are unable to deliver on that promise. Just say it and apologize to Ghana. Then we move on and stop this gymnastics here and there.
I can see John smiling.
No, but he has to smile because he knows that I've got it. But that's what they are trying to do. If you cannot deliver, then just tell Ghanaians that you cannot deliver. You said 2018, you moved to 2019, 2020, now 2021. It is true you cannot deliver. Just say that we cannot deliver and start shifting the post. Do you have a mandate in 2021?
Same usual incompetent.
Do you have a mandate in 2021?
They won't take their time to do the proper engagement.
So when you are making the promises, what did you do?
What we are doing is part of the pledges. You don't rush to do things without the proper engagement.
The President of the Republic of Ghana has a specific day.
Gentlemen, I'm grateful.
And now you are shifting away.
For your Tuesday morning with me here.
You are shifting away.
John Kuma is the Chief Executive of the National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program. He's a member of the NPP. Fred Agbenyo is Deputy Communications Director of the NDC. Grateful for your time. You sent in comment. We'll read them. Stay with us. Sports is up next.
Welcome, and we'll talk about health. But let me say happy 65th birthday to Dr. Richard Bamford. He's a consultant gynecologist and CEO of the Medifam Multi-Specialist Hospital and Fertility Center. This is from your staff and management. Happy birthday to you. As we zoom into a conversation that's been trending for a very long time. The president at the London School of Economics, the African Summit, said that, well, the 1.2 billion that's owed National Health Insurance Scheme service providers, out of that, 1 billion cedis has been paid. Well, a sharp rebuttal from the service providers say they have not received the money. But yesterday, the vice president insisted that that amount of money has been paid. I've been joined by Alex Ofori-Mensah, his technical advisor in charge of insurance of the Christian Health Association of Ghana. Alex, good morning and thank you very much for your time.
Good morning. Thank you.
Has the money been paid? Have you received money?
Okay, from where we sit, we'll not be able to say 1 billion or 1.2 billion has been paid or has not been paid. We package claims, submit to NHIS, and expect them to pay us month by month. Yeah, so what we can say is that for now, payment has been more regular. Some accumulated debts that we suffered a year ago has reduced. There has been improvement.
Right.
Yeah, but as to whether it is 1 billion or 1.2 billion, that we cannot speak to it.
All right, let's take a look at what the president had to say at the London School of Economics, and then we'll come back to the conversation.
Reviving the strength of our National Health Insurance Scheme, which under the previous government was being strangled by debt. Of the 1.2 billion CD debt we inherited, the equivalent of some $300 million, we paid in the last 15 months 1 billion CDs, the equivalent of $250 million. The scheme is regaining its effectiveness so that for a minimum amount, subscribers can have access to a wide range of medical services.
And so that was the president out there in London. So the president says this money has been paid, but usually, run me through, when such monies are paid, how long does it take for it to get to you? You say from where you sit, you don't have the money as we speak, but though they effectively mitigated, how long does it take for such monies to reach you?
Well, depending on which side of the country you are and which bank you deal with, it takes between 2 weeks and 1 month.
Right.
In that the transfers are made from the NHIA to sometimes to the regions, and then they are effected through the account. So if you are with a rural bank, for instance, it takes quite a while.
Right.
Yeah, but what we expected right from the beginning when we started talking about these accumulated claims was to have seen that the whole of 2017, all the claims are paid, so that we get the money in bulk and we can plan with it.
Right.
But what we have experienced is that you receive 1 month, and after a while, another month is paid. Yeah. Once in a while, you get 2 months together. Yeah. So it's been bits and pieces from time to time, and not really the bulk being paid at a go as the impression is being created.
And on your screens now, you see health people who have gone to seek medical attention, obviously who a bigger chunk of them will be NHIS registrants who will be benefiting from the scheme. But tell me, so this debt we're talking about, how far back does it go?
Well, we had as far back as 2014.
2014?
In some instances. That may be isolated in any way, but 2015, 2016. What happened was, because we sometimes play politics with almost everything, at some point in time, the 2016 claims were stopped, and then they jumped to 2017 to pay, so that it will look like the government of the day is not indebted.
Okay.
But governance is a continuum.
Right.
We were expecting that wherever the previous government left out, would have been paid month on month. But that notwithstanding, we can say for sure some of the institutions have actually received all the outstanding for those 2014, 2015 have been paid. Mostly the 2016, some have received, and 2017, the best so far is I think September.
Okay.
Yes, but at any point in time there will be arrears. If we have 4
that
months,
you accept.
That is the design of the.
What level of arrears can you tolerate?
Yes, the maximum allowed should be 6 months.
6 months.
But the ideal should be 3 months.
Okay.
3 months in that you have 1 month to prepare and submit.
Right.
And the NHIA is also allowed 2 months to vet and then pay. But in most cases, sometimes we are not even able to submit within the month. And therefore, we allow for, let's say, 2 months.
There have been issues of bloating the figures for claims, which, you know, vetting process takes a longer time, which is why some of these delays accrue. What's your opinion about that? Some of your members, you know, have been accused of bloating the figures.
Well, we don't have a perfect system. But it is unfortunate when the payer always tries to push the blame on the provider, as if they are perfect and the providers are not. They say to the man with a hammer, every problem is a nail.
Right.
You just hit and you are free. I think we should be sincere to ourselves and look at the issues practically, or what is going on the ground. Once in a while, for every insurance system, you have fraud and abuse.
Okay.
That's why I have monitoring and evaluation systems to track and punish and correct. So if you are not doing that, then you are not being effective.
Right.
So definitely there will be some attempt to defraud the system. for every insurance anywhere in the world.
Let's talk about the effect of being owed as a service provider. Some of you go for loans, and sometimes the interest rates that accrue and all of. Let's talk about the effects on the health delivery system as the NHIS wants to cure.
Yeah, if I'm to sum, I will tell you that the hospital is made worse off. The hospital becomes sick.
Sick.
The hospital that is supposed to provide care to the sick becomes sick. In that you don't have the medicines to give to the people who come.
Okay.
You don't have money to buy supplies for consumables. Sometimes people who are paid on the table are not paid. And so you come and health personnel treats you anyhow, and you are complaining because the person has not been paid. There is no peace.
Right.
Yeah, so it's not the best. It is actually the worst thing that we shouldn't tolerate. And so if we have payments that are more regular, that as a provider you can plan and predict that you are going to receive X or Y amount, that helps.
Okay, right. That helps in
that helps in managing the health system as a whole.
Right.
Yeah. If the patient sometimes is not able to get the medicines required, they are giving the prescriptions and they go out. We don't know what happens. One may go and buy 2 tablets instead of 20 because he or she doesn't have the money.
Okay.
And they will come back to the hospital more, sick, and sometimes you're not able to even revive them. So the delay in paying claims is something that we should, as much as possible, avoid, if possible.
It's been consistently drummed into our heads that the NHIS is collapsing. From where you sit as Christian Health Associations of Ghana, is that your opinion as well?
Well, it's difficult to say. Well, if you say it's collapsing, yes, we can share in that because we're expected to see a more functioning, more robust health insurance system.
Right.
That is not what we have. There are challenges in that we have been told that even if government releases all the funds that is due to health insurance, they will not be able to pay the claims.
Right.
Yeah, so that is not a good sign. And therefore, to some extent, we can say that yes, it is not on its feet. So something has to be done and done quickly to revive it.
Also, there have been allegations against you that because you don't receive the claims, you send people away from your health posts so they don't receive medical treatment and care, if you will.
No,
what do you say to that?
For that, I will tell you it's not true.
It is not true?
It cannot happen.
Are you speaking for the totality of every hospital in this country?
Well, I represent the Christian Health Association of Ghana, and I can assure you that we started health insurance because we wanted to avoid sending patients away because they don't have money. So if the government is paying part and the people are relieved, that will be the last thing we will not do.
Right.
We will not send patients because they don't have money. The unfortunate thing is that you cannot give what you don't have.
Right.
So if you don't have the medicines to give to the patient, the worst is to hand the prescription for him or her to go and buy.
From where?
From the pharmaceutical shops, because they also receive payment from health insurance. But the unfortunate thing is that those of us who are even being supported by government to some extent are not able to stock the medicines.
Okay.
The question is, how is the private person who is also in the same condition able to do that, and under what condition? So the patient may get the medication, but the question is from where, which source, with fake and counterfeit drugs in the system.
Right.
It is not the best. And so as much as possible, if the patient comes, receive the care and attention, and we're able to provide the medicines as well, that is what we prefer. Yes, but to turn away a patient because he doesn't have money, that is not. That is why the deaths have accumulated sometimes up to 1 year. We take care, and then we push the insurance.
A bird whispered to me that because of your inability to deliver on the loans that you collect from banks, some of them are blacklisting your institutions and making you credit unworthy. Is it true?
That is true. A few facilities have even been taken to court, And the unfortunate part is even sometimes government institutions, you are supposed to pay SNIT. You are supposed to pay other taxes, where, especially for the private sector. And when another government institution is pushing you to, the wall,
right?
And it's because another government institution has crippled you. Yeah, it's funny, but some one or two have actually collapsed, especially the purely private self-financing ones.
Right.
Yeah. So that is how critical the issue is, and that is where I think we should avoid politicizing health insurance.
Is it being politicized?
Definitely. That is what we
on a scale of 0 to 100, where would you peg it? You've been working in there for a long time. Tell me.
Well, what I mean by politicizing is when party A, let's say NDC personnel will sit here and will be telling you how many months health insurance owing.
Right.
Counting 2016. Who was in charge in 2016?
Right.
So if you are telling me that facility A says they are being owed 7 months, 12 months in 2016, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because if you had paid all the 2016, there wouldn't have been arrears. And again, in the same vein, NPP should not stop paying 2016 and jump to 2017 because they want to be seen to have done the best during their time. That is what is killing us.
Is it your opinion that the politician is toying with the healthcare system in this country because they are able to afford to fly out to assess medical care elsewhere?
Well, that is a big statement, but I think there
is it true? Is it your opinion?
Well, I would not say that. I haven't said that, but it's unfortunate.
But if you're saying that NDC would like to say, well, when we were there, we didn't. OMPP would say we paid. That's toying with the healthcare system. For those of us who can't afford to fly out.
Yes, so we have to call on whoever is in charge to do the right thing, because during the campaign, NPP was saying that health insurance has collapsed. You get a government spokesperson to sit here today, you tell you that it hasn't collapsed. What has changed? It's just because positions have changed. So when you are out there, it has collapsed. When you are in, it hasn't collapsed. Let us face the facts. Let us, bite the bullet. Let's do the right thing to fix it. And because it is the best social intervention system that we have as a country.
Alex Ofori-Mensah is a technical advisor in charge of insurance at the Christian Health Associations of Ghana. We've been joined by Mr. James Latte. He's head of communications at the Food and Drugs Authority. Earlier, yesterday or the day before, we heard about 3 children who have died from a fumigant. We're told that the FDA and the EPA are investigating. Mr. Latte, good morning and thank you for your time. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing
great. What's the latest on the investigation?
Well, I would say that we are still on it. During the investigation, it was established that the product that they used contained an active ingredient that is called aluminum phosphide.
Okay.
And aluminum phosphide is actually a agrochemical, a fumigant.
Right.
When aluminum phosphide reacts with moisture or in the midst of moisture, it releases gas that is called phosphine, and that gas is very toxic.
Right.
Well, there are a couple of things that have come up that I think as a nation we've got to learn from. You see, many a times we go to town, we see people selling these products. Somebody just come to you by your car and recommend their product to you. You take it home, you not even read anything on the product.
Right.
Once the guy has said it, that's gospel truth, and begin to use. He said, use 100 tablets, use 100 tablets, and that is a problem. Because 2 families use this. I don't know whether you are aware on the same compound. One family didn't have a problem.
Okay.
Though they experienced some, chokings and things, put it that way, but nobody died.
Okay.
The other family, because they used it in AC, everything was enclosed. 3 children were gone. So we've got to be very careful. Aside that, when you look at the product, it's very clear on the product that this is a fumigant used against pesticides. Used against pests. On stored grains, feed, and then processed food. So it gives you an idea that it is more of an industrial use than a domestic use.
Large scale.
Large scale. You know? So we've got to be careful about some of these things. It's very unfortunate.
I'm worried about how these things find their way onto the market. And consistently, we've talked about personnel, consistently we talk about surveillance, consistently we talked about vigilance and the shared responsibility. But here are 3 lives lost. Where do we go from here? How do these things get onto the market?
You know, yesterday I listened to the head of communication with the EPA.
Right.
You know, agrochemicals fall actually under EPA.
Absolutely. That's true.
I listened to her. And she brought out a concern, which I, being working with the regulator, know that she was being very right. That because of these porous borders, anybody brings anything, anytime.
Just like that.
And it's a challenge. And you see, we need to address that. You know, we've been complaining about this tramadol issue and things. Sorry, I'm diverting.
No, it's okay.
Tramadol issue and
it's okay.
All because of porous borders. All because of porous borders. And if these things are well dealt with, I'm sure, you know, we don't have a problem. We still deal with these issues.
So, apart from the porous borders, which is a major concern, there comes market surveillance, and which has been spoken about for a couple of times. How are we going about this market surveillance thing? Are we winning? Are we losing? What is it? What's happening?
We are. I wouldn't say we are losing. You know, every time, whilst you bring in measures to deal with issues, those doing the wrong things will always find ways to outwit you.
Right.
You understand? It happens everywhere in the world.
Right.
And it is something we are seriously fighting. On daily basis, we have men on the market. And I must also congratulate or thank the general public. Since FDA brought out these toll-free lines and things, we've been getting a lot of information from the public, which is actually assisting us in the way that we are doing. It's really assisting FDA a lot in the way that we are doing. So I will ask the general public to continue to give us information. You understand? But again, I will appeal. If you buy a product on the market, please, just take your time and read the instruction on the label. It is very important. The instruction was not placed there to decorate the product.
Right.
It's to inform the consumer. So it's good the consumer will read and know that if this thing says that it's supposed to be used for stored grains and things, then it cannot be domestic.
Right.
Let me not buy it, despite the sweet talks from the sellers. You know, they are very sweet talks.
They do, but Mr. Latte, there's also been a school of thought, and one which I propose that look, there are so many graduates from our universities, polytechnics. If it has to do with numbers, can we recruit them and put them on a commission basis, for example? So they run market surveillance. You give them training, they run market surveillance for you. Each arrest they cost or exposure they cost, whatever penalties, they get a percentage of it. How workable is that?
You know, we are not going the direction you are suggesting, but we are using our service people a lot. What we do is that any year, in fact, we started a long time, but it's this year that we really enforce that. When we get a service person, they are taken through training on enforcement, on education. So we bus them with a staff bus on daily basis. So what happens is that every day we put this service personnel in a bus, drop them at locations, and we have staff who supervises them.
Right.
They go around, check things that have been done wrongly. Where they need to educate, they educate. Where they need to seize, they seize. You understand? Where we realize that we need police assistance, we call in the police, they always respond to us.
All right, Mr. Latte, let's take a break quickly. We'll return shortly after this break to continue the conversation. This is New Day on TV3.
Recharge your card, send the Sika for Vodafone cash. Send the text, make a call across the net. Forget your worry, Vodafone promotion here solid.
Win airtime, data, and mind-blowing cash prizes of up to 200,000 Ghana cedis every hour, every day, every week, and monthly on Vodafone Payday.
Give me cash, hashtag Vodafone Payday.
Superfarm Network presents The Inspection, a stage play written by Mrs. C.S. Champon.
The senior hospital is coming. Everybody quiet! Where from that noise?
Senior, please, my shirt fell.
And it made that noise?
Yes, because I was in the shirt.
Venue, National Theatre. Date, 28th April 2018. First show at 4 p.m., second show at 8 p.m. Ticket is going at 60 Ghana Cedis single and 100 Ghana Cedis for double. Sponsors, Media General, TV3, 3FM, and supported by Food 101 and Yomi Yogurt. Ticket outlets, National Theatre, TV3. Call 0266 267 394 or 0540 872 401.
What is this? Senior key soap.
What are you doing? What do you use it for?
Senior, with the fat bread, carry.
The Inspection.
A brave African queen fought many battles to protect her family from hungry mosquitoes that may carry malaria parasites. Until one day, she discovered something new.
Discover new Raid Day and Night, 3 sprays on 1 poster for 24-hour mosquito protection for the whole family. The future of mosquito protection is here. The revolution will be peaceful. Raid Day and Night. It's good to be tough.
SC Johnson, a family company.
Who wins the car, the title belt, and the cash? Coming soon on your screens. Ghana's strongest, the power to do.
What time is it? Yeah! 611, 111, 255, 977. You all got it correct. But it goes to Emmanuel. Let's give that for him from the lessons. What time is it? Yeah!
UC Mass shows Sundays 2:30 p.m. on TV3.
The biggest television event of 2018. The world's greatest sport. The biggest names in football. All the teams. The build-up. The anticipation. The expectations. As the world competes for one trophy. This is the pinnacle of football. For over 40 weeks, this is the road to Russia.
The Road to Russia shows Sundays 8 p.m. and is brought to you by MTN. Everywhere you go.
That's EL there with Joy. Back to the conversation with Mr. James Latte, Chief. So before the break, we're talking about how to beef up market surveillance and all of that.
Yes.
Yesterday, I was shocked to the bone. I saw on the market something that looked like mouthwash, and it had that approved by FDA. Knowing the standards of the FDA, I confronted the guy. I asked him how he got authorization from the FDA for anything like that. Nothing less like a mouthwash. And he says, oh, the graphic designer just put your thing there and found the Ghana Standards Authorities thing. These things are on the market, and it is our lives that are at stake, Chief.
We always give this advice that because of some of these practices, it will be very good for consumers to buy products from recognized shops. I'm saying this because this that you are talking about, if for instance it's located in a shop, FDA can go look at the products, do further investigation to even find out who supplied it.
Exactly.
And then get to the core. But you see, when you buy from the roadside, you are not assured of what you are buying.
That's true.
You don't even know whether it's a genuine thing or it's not a genuine thing. You don't even know. Yes, there are some things on the roadside that are good. I don't deny that.
Yeah.
But that is not the best place to buy your products. Even going back to this issue, this thing that happened.
Right, the fumigant.
Look, when you sell such chemicals on the open sun, the heat alone can cause a reaction. That will create a problem.
Don't people know this?
You see, we've done a lot of education on this. And it looks like, changing habits is very difficult.
How does the FDA feel each time something like that happens? They knock on your door and they start blaming you. How does the FDA feel?
Well, it decepts us, though we understand that as a regulator, you'll be getting bashings. For that, we know that. And it's something we do expect that will be happening. But as much as we can, we make sure that though you blame us, when you go to the call, you don't find us wanting. So we try our best. I'm not saying we are perfect institution. No, we have challenges. But we try our best to ensure that we put in systems to protect the general public. In fact, something we do a lot. We try our best.
Social media has been awash with a lot of conversations, and I'm sure we can have this conversation on a broader level.
Yeah.
But I saw something about water, pH levels, and all of those things out there. Has it come to your attention?
Look, thank you for raising this. We issued a press statement on this 2 weeks ago.
Right.
Debunking that, how do you call it? Circulation. That people should just ignore it.
Right.
That's not true. Look, that circulation is a false circulation.
Why would they put it out there then?
It could be competitors. It could be. I'm not saying it is. Right. It could be competitors. And you see, I want to use your platform to tell the general public that circulation about those brands of water, that they are testing pH, they should just forget about it. FDA, when it comes to pH, drinking water, is supposed to have pH between 6.5 and 8.5.
Right.
And all the products that we have approved on the market are within that range. So nobody should come out and say that others are not good, others are good. People make claims of alkaline.
Right.
That once maybe it has a higher pH, the alkaline level is high, and therefore there are some health benefits to it. Forget about it. It hasn't been proven. So people say that. It hasn't been proven.
So people are misinforming.
It's just misinformation.
Is there a lacuna, a space that will make people speculate and misinform the public?
Just because of competition. You are selling a product, I'm selling a product. I realize that people are buying your product. People are not buying my product. Let me sit down and think, is there something I can say about your product that will let people not buy your product? I go out and go say it.
When are we hoping to conclude the investigation on the fumigant and the 3 lives that have been lost?
We are lazy with EPA because it falls under them.
Right.
And then Ministry of Agric.
Right.
We've started. Yesterday we were with them. We had some discussions and things. And we are hoping that within the shortest possible time we'll come out with something. But definitely, once we are out with any information or put in the public domain.
Thank you, Mr. James Lati. Thank you very much. He's the PRO of the Food and Drugs Authority, the regulator there. Happy birthday, 65th birthday to Dr. Richard Bamfo. He's a consultant gynecologist and CEO of the Medifund Multi-Specialist Hospital. This from your own son, Benjamin Alpha, and the rest of your staff there, management. We'll be back after this here on New Day. Stay with us.
Welcome back. So, of course, we're wrapping up by a belated happy birthday to Rosemont Safraga. She works with us here at TV3. Happy belated birthday, and God bless you.
Yeah. Rosemont Safraga is one of the hard-working people who keep TV3 spick and span clean, spotlessly clean. And yesterday also was birthday of one of our own, Larry Moses, out there in the Bonahafo region. Is our representative there. It was his birthday. But I thought this is Mr. Paul Biya, president of Cameroon. He's 88 years old, and he wants to contest for the presidency one more time. In Africa, anything is definitely possible.
But that's not strange.
But this is too much. I mean, you look frail. Why would you want to?
No,
there's a lot of work
How
to
old
do
was Mugabe?
No, in Africa.
I mean, it's not how old you are necessarily, but sometimes when you see your health, this certainly doesn't look like he's strong enough to carry on the work he's doing.
He has the mental fortitude.
Let's be real to ourselves.
Anyway, so we're in the news for all the bad reasons. Gold Coast 2018, 21st Commonwealth Games, Queensland, and guess what? 3 of our athletes cannot be accounted for. Away bus, they are sprinting.
Really?
Where they're going, we don't know.
3 of them aren't coming back.
Yeah. Well, one was said to have reported to the airport, but her visa had issues, so she was taken back to sort it out. As for the other 2,
she's taken back to where? Gold Coast.
This happened in Gold Coast, so she went to the airport, but then we realized that visa something had happened.
So she didn't come back to Ghana.
So she didn't get to come back with the team.
But the other 2,
but the other 2 did.
So I think it's this one, the last one, the one behind who had issues with their passport. But these other 2, if you look at the aggressiveness with which they are sprinting,
have you realized that they have destroyed Ghana Must Go Back? They have. These days, the ones that have come, they can't carry as much load as the old ones. This particular one, very strong. But the new ones, you put a bottle of soft drink in there, and you lift it, and then.
But the fact that this people absconding, traveling to do official duty, and they're absconding, and it doesn't surprise us. It's a big issue.
It is a big issue. It surprises me.
But Johnny, it's been happening over and over again. So